Discover how to go from multi-million dollar idea to multi-million dollar business in today's episode with Heather Parsons. Heather Parsons is the founder and chief executive officer of Summit CFO, a fractional CFO firm based in Nashville, Tennessee, and she managed companies with more than $200 million of annual spending. So Heather, please tell us, what's the fastest and best way for entrepreneurs to go from multi-million dollar idea to multi-million dollar business?
Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
So one of the fastest ways to go from idea to an actual executable business is to really know your audience. What are you really going to provide for them? What is the deliverable that you're going to offer? And not just an idea, but how can you really help someone else?
Thank you. Tell us about your journey of how you help companies to grow.
So a couple of different ways that I help other entrepreneurs grow is around really digging in to figure out what their goals are. So if it's someone, I normally work with people who have an established business, and we spend a lot of time around where do they want to go with the business? Do they want a successful exit? Do they want to turn it over to their children at some point? What's their real end goal? And what do they want their life to look like? So once we have that information figured out, we sit down and we really try to reverse engineer their finances and how they operate their business so that they can get to the end.
Thank you. What's the worst mistake that entrepreneurs make when trying to turn a multi-million dollar idea into a multi-million dollar business?
One of the ideas that I think really slows people down and trips them up is around thinking that you have to do everything for yourself. I think the quickest way to grow a business is to build a phenomenal team, whether it's through part-time help, a coach, or whatever you're working on. Having the right people around you, I think, really elevates the way people think. It elevates what they can accomplish, because I know for me personally, whenever I'm doing everything myself, I can't delegate. I don't have time to really sit back and think about how I'm going to run the business and all the other facets that as a CEO and as a founder that I need to take care of. It's not just about deliverables. It's not just about, providing for the client. It's really about how do I take a step back and think about the bigger picture.
Thank you. What is the blueprint for entrepreneurs to go from multi-million dollar idea to multi-million dollar business? What are the practical steps to get there?
So practical steps, I think a lot of it depends on the service that you offer. So whether you're going to be a brick and mortar store, whether you're going to, be business to business, you're going to sell online. I think there's a lot of steps in between, but finding the right people to go along that journey with you. So whether, making sure you have your marketing dialed in, making sure that you're talking about your product or what you offer on podcasts like this one. I think getting that information out there, and whenever you have a solution that people need, they'll know where to go.
Thank you. Let's take a practical business. Let's focus on a coaching business, a high-ticket coaching business. Where would a high-ticket coaching business idea start in order to start generating the kind of money that will make it a multi-million dollar business?
Right. So if I think about coaching, for example, you only have so much time. So how can you change your offer so that it's not just trading time for money? Can you take a step back and do one-to-many coaching? So instead of one-on-one, can you coach multiple people at the same time? Can you offer courses? Can you do all of these other things? Because at the end of the day, like for you and I, we only have so many hours in the day. Another thing that I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs about is raising your prices. So if you have enough clients today and you're really trying to elevate for the services that you offer and the knowledge that you have, you need to charge the appropriate price for that. So looking at a tiered way to help people who are just getting started as a coach, working with a coach, what could you offer them that's maybe a little bit different than your inner level coaching clients who are spending one-on-one time with you, who are really a different level in their business?
Thank you. What are the 10 commandments of operating a multi-million dollar business that entrepreneurs should start doing straight away?
I'm not sure about 10 commandments, but I definitely have several things that I think make a difference. So for starters, if you have a business that's already operating, have you documented your processes? A lot of the things that are very tactical, they're not super fun. A lot of people don't like them. But I think if you take the time to document processes, even if it's just a workflow, so that you can see from the beginning to the end how your business operates, it gives you a lot of clarity. Because, as I'm working with my clients, the one thing that we're really trying to dig in and find out is the information. Do I have the clarity to make the right decision? And then once we have our processes identified, we know what people are doing, what seat on the bus that they have, then we can really dig in and say, okay, do I need an extra marketing person? Do I need somebody to help me with payroll? Do I have all of that stuff? If not, at what point financially can I bring somebody on? And then we start really looking at the finances. How can I do things like leverage my AR? So if I have a bunch of accounts receivable, I'm struggling with cash flow, can I get certain loans that can help me grow my business quicker? So there's all sorts of different things that business owners can do today to change the trajectory of their business. But I also think it becomes very specialized as they continue to grow and get a little bit bigger. The playbook seems very similar, but the tactics that they use can shift around for sure.
Thank you. What are the best ways to get creative financing in order to manage the operations in the most effective way?
Loads of different ways to do creative financing. So you can go the friends and family route. You can have people in your life. It's all about relationships. So who do you know that may have an IRA sitting around, or different ways that they can invest in your business to bring on more people, to have that technology developed? So you can go the venture capital route. You can leverage parts of your business that are already developed. You can take on different investors. The sky is really the limit, and I think it all depends on your level of creativity and what you're willing to give up. I was talking to another entrepreneur yesterday, and one of the things that I found very fascinating about their venture capital journey was they knew what they were willing to give up for that money, and they knew what they were going to do with it very specifically whenever they received it. So I think having that plan is key to bringing on investors or having more capital to inject in your business.
Thank you. Tell us 3 case studies of companies you've worked with where your role as a CFO mattered, and tell us how it mattered, like what difference you made there, and what kind of steps did you implement for it to make a massive difference?
Sure. So I work with a lot of different businesses. So I also take on I'm a big fan of giving back, so I take on some pro bono cases every now and then. So one of the cases that comes to mind is it was a small business. They were doing restaurant oven, like the hood over the oven. They were cleaning those. It was like a fire suppression system, all sorts of different stuff there. But they really wanted to exit their business. They've been doing it for a long time. So I worked with them to figure out, where is your revenue today, and how can you do a maximum, get the maximum for your exit? So we put in things in place. We did some reports. We tracked their cash flow, all of that, so that they could show potential buyers, hey, this is what our business really does each month. Couple of things that I think from a tactical perspective that are super important is making sure that you don't have any commingled funds, that everything that's a part of the business is listed on the balance sheet. So as an investor or a potential new business comes in to make a purchase, they know exactly what they're getting. Because one of the things I think that is super difficult for business owners is they have put their life's blood into this business. And then all of a sudden they're trying to exit, and somebody comes in and really kind of slashes that number to pieces because they're not really prepared. So trying to go from long-time business to an exit is one of the ways that I've definitely leaned in. Another area, go ahead, please.
No, please continue.
Yeah, another business that I worked through, really looking to change markets, trying to say, okay, I'm in a very specific business today. I want to go to a more holistic approach and product line. So how do I make that switch and still have the cash flow to pay my employees, pay my rent? So really modeling that out to say, how do I get from point A to point B and still maintain my clients and have enough money in the bank for payroll each week?
Thank you. And the third one?
Yeah. And the third one, I have another client that I've really loved working with. So really trying to just be more of that strategic financial advisor, trying to take them in their business from where they're at today and add an additional $2 million in revenue. So again, trying to understand where they want to go, trying to get to an exit. So how do we increase that revenue and streamline that in a way that they really protect their bottom line? Because I believe that, revenue is great and it's all about vanity, and cash flows for sanity. So the more money that they can keep on that bottom line, the better off they are for an exit or just in general operations and reinvesting in their business.
Thank you. Which KPIs should companies track in order to increase their valuation to a multi-million-dollar business?
So from a KPI perspective, the number one thing that I've seen is, it's all about net income. So what is your bottom dollar? After all of your expenses, what's left? And I think that really drives the valuation more than anything else. Another thing that really impacts that number is around how much cash goes along with the business, because I think that gives the new owner a lot of safety and clarity. So making sure that there's enough operating expense reserves in a savings account somewhere so that whenever they take over the business, as the change happens, that they have less risk. There's loads of other KPIs. I am a true believer that if you're not going to make a decision based on a KPI, you shouldn't track it, because it's all about, are you making the right decisions in your business?
Thank you. What revenue streams could entrepreneurs who have a high-ticket coaching business should be added in order to turn that business into a multi-million-dollar business?
Yeah, so from a coaching perspective, I would really look at how are you impacting larger groups. Coaching can definitely be, a lot of people see coaching as a one-on-one situation. I think it's how do you create a community that people want to be a part of, that they feel that they're really getting the value out of, so that it's impacting their business, whether it's, quarterly meetups where people are going off-site somewhere to talk about business, to really learn more and to really grow. Because I know for me, whenever I'm looking at a coach or a program that I want to do to grow as a leader, it's all about what caliber of people am I going to be around and what's the outcome look like.
Thank you. Tell us about the habits, routines, and apps that should be used by entrepreneurs to turn their multi-million-dollar idea into a multi-million-dollar business over the longer term.
Sure. So a couple of things that I think are very crucial as an entrepreneur is, personal health. So for me, it's very easy to work astronomical amount of hours and not take care of myself. So right now, for me, I'm on a health journey. So I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, I make sure that I'm walking and working out and trying to really be the healthiest version of myself that I can. Because as most entrepreneurs know, it can be very stressful. So if I'm not managing my health and I'm not managing all aspects of my life, it's very easy to find myself with a lot of downtime because I'm not feeling well or not really able to perform at the level I need to.
Thank you. What additional revenue streams or additional steps should entrepreneurs take to turn their multi-million-dollar idea into a multi-million-dollar business?
Additional steps. I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to think about who they surround themselves with. Are they around people who really support their vision? And are they around other people who have already done it? So if you're looking to have a multi-million-dollar business, from my perspective, the fastest way to get there is to be around other people who already have, because they understand and know the sacrifice that you need to make. And when it comes to the decisions, a lot of other entrepreneurs have already seen those. So really building your network and building your advisory board of people who you can reach out to whenever you're not really sure about the idea. I'm a firm believer that you can't teach yourself things you don't know. So the sooner you surround yourself with other smart business people, the easier it is to reach that multi-million-dollar business level.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs increase their desirability factor as a business, so much so that they are not chasing clients, they become attractors of clients?
Absolutely. So I think whenever you have what other people want and you're telling people about it and you're passionate about it, I think that's a natural magnet. So people want to be around other people who are positive, who have great ideas. Also, some people are giving things away for free. So how can you help people without giving away all of your secret sauce and still help them make progress? Even if they can't afford your high ticket item, even if their coaching is out of their reach at the moment, how can you still add value to others so that you're somebody that they want to be around?
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs leverage brand associations so they can turn their multi-million-dollar idea into multi-million-dollar businesses?
So when it comes to branding, it's all about consistency. So are you showing up the same way consistently over and over again so that people know what you're about? Are you posting things that are in line with what you sell? For example, I am a fractional CFO. So I try to limit what I post on social and about my brand to that. Doesn't mean that's my only idea, doesn't mean that's my only business. I have another completely separate business about real estate. So I try to make sure that each brand is very clear and people understand what we're about and how we can help.
Thank you. Tell us what a fractional CFO does and how a fractional CFO could be useful for large companies.
Sure. So fractional CFOs, I'd like to take a little bit further step back and tell a little bit more about accounting in general. So accountants are very much like attorneys or surgeons, for example. You want somebody who is very specialized in where you're at and what you're trying to do. So a lot of people when they think about accounting, they think about a bookkeeper. So somebody who records their transactions, gets them ready for tax time, and that's where they stop the conversation. Excuse me. And then they don't think about like having a controller on staff, somebody who oversees that bookkeeper, who makes sure all their reports are good to go, everything is in compliance with what they're doing in their business. So that's where a controller really steps in. And then after that, people really think about a CPA who does their taxes. Everybody wants to pay less in taxes, keep a little bit more money in their pocket. But the CFO does a very different role from all three of those different seats. So a CFO is all about future-looking strategy. They're the person who looks at your business and says, okay, here are our big business objectives. How can I financially help you get there? What's our strategy? How can we make sure that we have all of our treasury activities in order so that we're leveraging the money that we have appropriately and so that we are really being a good steward of our investors' money?
Thank you. Tell us, what kind of strategies have you used for certain companies where you have helped them to increase their bottom?
So a lot of the companies that I work with, the first strategy that we really try to go for is around identifying all of the items on their profit and loss statement. So do we know where all their cash comes in from? Do we know what all of their revenue streams look like? And get very clear on that. We design a money map that says, okay, all of this money comes in the door this way. And then here are the ways that the money goes out the door, whether it's overhead expenses, whether it's cost of goods sold, head count. And then we try to make sure that we have the right ratios. So for example, most businesses, I would expect payroll to be 30% or less. Some businesses are very different than that, but those are just some general guidelines that say, okay, for this business, am I operating as efficiently as possible? And by looking at those items, it's much easier to say, okay, I have everything that I need. I'm not paying for subscriptions I don't need or services that I'm not really using. And that really helps them get clear about what they're using their money on and keep more money in their pocket.
Thank you. What are some additional cost-cutting measures entrepreneurs could leverage to turn $1 million idea into a multi-million-dollar business?
So whenever I think about cost cutting, I really try to frame it in, am I investing in the right things? So am I buying the right subscriptions? That is one of the things that I think a lot of people get caught up in is I'm buying services and I could consolidate those services and use a different tool and maybe eliminate a lot of cost. So really trying to look there. Also, I look a lot at travel and expenses. Are we traveling for the right things? Are we going to meetings on site that we could have done via Zoom that are not that critical? All of that really impacts the bottom line because it's not one huge line item. It's a lot of small things rolled in together.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs choose the right pricing for their products so that they turn their $1 million idea into a multi-million-dollar business and don't miss out on business that is perhaps priced out too high or too low?
Sure. When it comes to pricing, and I'm looking at, okay, what should our service be billed at? I'm really looking to see what goes into that number first. So we talked a lot about high ticket coaching items. What does it cost you to deliver that item? For example, if I'm putting on a workshop, okay, what does the room cost? I'm going to have to provide coffee and donuts or some sort of food. What is my all-inclusive cost for that activity, my travel, everyone else's? And then what revenue do I expect to make on top of that? And then I have to look at it and be very objective and realistic to say, is this in alignment with the market? What are other coaches charging for a very similar event? And I think that's difficult sometimes for a small business because you can't compete on price. Then you have to go all about the value. How can you increase the value that you're giving your clients to make the event worth it?
Thank you. What's the best way for entrepreneurs to turn their $1 million idea into their first 100 customers?
When I think about customers, I think it's very important to get clear on your avatar. Who is your ideal client? Where do they hang out? So that you know, like in my business, for example, most of my clients hang out in places like LinkedIn, podcast, other places. So it's not as important for me to market in other ways. So I really try to make sure that I know my avatar, I know what they're looking for and where they hang out, and that's where I focus my marketing and ad dollars.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Entrepreneurs can find me on my website at thesummitcfo.com, or they can reach out to me via email at connect@thesummitcfo.com.
Thank you. Tell us about why you created the Summit CFO.
Absolutely. So I created Summit CFO because I wanted small to medium-sized entrepreneurs to get the same level of help and expertise that I was giving at a Big Four accounting firm. So these large companies have a lot of help, a lot of talent that are really pouring into them to make them operate efficiently and grow. And in my other business, as I was talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, I found that they were amazing at what they did, the service they delivered. But when it came to back office operations and finances, they didn't always have the same information and tools. So I'm on a mission to really help change the small business failure rates and to make sure that businesses have the tools they need to grow and really reach their potential.
Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.